I don't know about y'all, but I am so sick and tired of this double-minded, double standard. If a little black boy is proud of the color of his skin, then we all look at him and tell him, baby boy, you special. One day you gonna change this world and be the greatest. But if a little white boy looks into the mirror and does the very same thing, just because of the color he was born, we all tell him, stop that, little boy. You too selfish and too privileged. You ain't gonna grow up to be nothing but a racist. Can someone please explain to me how we can find it acceptable to teach one that he should take pride in the complexion that his face is, yet and still go and tell the other that esteeming himself based upon what his race is absolutely disgusting and repulsive? Can somebody please tell me what's wrong with that little white boy loving his own skin tone? All I'm saying is that every little boy and girl should be given the same freedoms to grow up with. Okay, so see, now this is the part right here that begins to stir up a bit of a rift. The number of mixed people are constantly growing, but somehow we still all got mixed feelings. As a matter of fact, my niece is one. Deep down, most of us as blacks will always feel as if we weren't ever even given an even playing field to grow up with. And even though this is true, I still don't agree with you. It's still not the truth. The truth is, if we say we believe in Jesus, then we should understand that racism is just another part of the devil being deceptive. You gotta understand that can't nobody take nothing from you unless God never even meant for you to have it. What I'm saying is that nothing happens without his okay. So okay, we say, well, how come God ever let racism happen? And to be truthful, I ain't got no answer for that. But what I will say to everyone who is a part of my generation, if you listening, when we gonna truly start to trust God and stop always seeing ourselves as the victims? You say the white man is the perpetrator. Those of us who try to ignite peace, align to form an alliance, we fake. We don't deserve purple hearts because we just some perps looking for some perks. We ain't your peeps. We ain't your peers. We just perping, some perpetual traitors. Y'all can't even see that I'm just walking in my purpose. My heart is truly colorless. I can't see colors. And please hear me loud and clear when I say this. God gave the same mind, same heart to a lot of us. All white people aren't disingenuous. You think all white people are just tolerating us to human themselves and us? They only pretending like they like us, busy smiling in our faces. They just perpetrating, trying to penetrate our defense mechanisms. Just waiting to pin us up in them penitentiaries. That's why you always living scared, walking through this world with your guards up, not trusting that God will give us discernment and protect us. But what you truly need to understand is that not every man is raised to be hateful. And even though you black, you still might need to take another look in the mirror because you might be the one who is racist. These two little boys right here are both just merely kids, children. Two little boys from the very same generation. But they've already been taught to go through this life believing that no matter what, somehow there will always be a difference. And I was that little black boy growing up. But little white boy, this is just my attempt at being more empathetic, trying to make a difference. Trying to see life from your perspective. And I already know that a lot of my black people listening gonna call me pathetic, but all of these children are our future. I don't care what color, because I'm a forward thinker. This ain't no Black Life Matter. This is our children are the future, no matter the color. I'm just trying to move us forward. How we gonna ever move forward if we ain't looking forward toward the Lord? Black people still carrying on about the past. We say whites treated us like trash. When are we gonna see the devil love to see us blaming white people, giving them the white power, fighting back with our black power instead of just truly respecting God's power and putting all of our hope in his hands? We got a whole list of demands, and we ain't about making no friends. But why can't we see that we live in a day and age where little black boys and little white boys are friends? And we are the ones still teaching them to keep their guards up against each other instead of walking hand in hand. It's our fault Because one is taught that there is beauty in loving his own skin and that he will always be a victim met with resistance. So resist the rest, live in unrest because they are just unjust. So just live your life giving resistance and you better go somewhere and start up a resistance. Yes, I am that little black boy, so I believe that my black life matters. But I believe that the life of Jesus matters more because if he wouldn't have died, then none of us would even have life. His life matters. So what's the matter with us? This is a family matter. As a matter of fact, if this is the matter of what we're faced with, then no one should be taking pride in the color of their faces because the idea of loving your own color more than anybody else's is what makes us racist. And I absolutely refuse to be another black racist. Little white boy, you are not the perpetrator, and I am not a victim. We are all just a part of a broken, godless system, and none of us should be proud of the color of our own skin. Me being born black does not automatically qualify me to become a victim. And just because you was born white does not automatically mean that you should be accused of degradation. As blacks, I will never understand why we still even condone this. We say that we want to see change and progress, but none of us are even thinking progressive. We're still focusing on the past. We're not even past being aggressive. We're not passive aggressive. We're brash and aggressive, misguided, misdirected. We're so busy trying to blame white people and trying to love ourselves that it's almost as if we're saying that the idea of God being in control of all of this is unrealistic. How can we teach a little white boy and black boy two instinctively different things, but still be expecting them to grow up seeing eye to eye when they were consequently trained to always be moving in two contrasting directions? To sit up here and say that we want to see change, to say that we want this world to be different is in and of itself a contradiction because the truth is we could never all be on one accord because we all want something different. Little black boys and girls will always grow up being a tad bit suspicious. And little white boys and girls will always grow up taught in some way to keep their distance because those little black kids are always going to be a little bit too vicious. Man-made traditions, stereotypes, everybody dancing to their own beat. We all love the same music. White kids and black kids in unison, stereo blasting, but nobody's listening. Society still singing that same old song. Look how aggressive those black folks are. And we still like, look how oppressive y'all are. And we could never get too far because these vicious cycles are so repetitive. Nobody listening to the children. Everybody want to be so connected to what the past is echoing that even though we watching the kids dancing together like they can't even see color, we still just want to gravitate to our own rhythms. Just a bunch of psychos because we do the same thing over and over. Nobody willing to speak up and break the cycles. But I am because I am one of Jesus' disciples. Why do we want that little white boy to live like no matter what it is, he still inherently deserves to be held accountable for everything that his own race ever did? It ain't his fault, but by default, somehow he still became the poster boy for a white man that we all believe only wants to destroy that little black girl and boy. We should feel ashamed for still trying to place all the blame on the white man and then turn around and tell that little white boy that he should somehow be the one to take the blame and feel ashamed for the color his skin is. Once again, he is just a boy. How do I even frame this? We want to frame him because that's always been the framework of this world. But God framed me in his image and gave me a black frame. I am black, but that's still not how my brain works. I'm not here to shame the white man. So please allow me to take you into my frame of mind. Picture this. These two little boys represent a picture of every little black boy, little black girl, little white boy, little white girl coming up in the next generation. And I feel driven to let the Holy Spirit speak through me so that we can all have better interpretation in our communication. That little white boy is just an individual in a world where we all judge so critical. And the damage is just a bit of collateral, residual outcome. How come we so dumb that we fighting a spiritual battle, human beings fighting against the devil, but some whites still hate blacks and the feeling is always going to be mutual because that's what we've become used to. But I'm here to turn the tables because the devil is a liar and he's good with fables. Most of us as blacks grew up believing that just because we're black, we can never be guilty of being raised to become a racist. How do I put this? As a black man, I'm still an individual. And I hate groups. We ain't going to heaven in groups. And each and every one of us is going to have to stand before God and individually account for whatever we do. And in all truth, some people still ignorant enough to see this world in black and white. Some people believe that all truth is relative. But I'm here to tell you that if you are a human being, no matter what color you are, then me and you are relatives. Which means that yes, I am a black man. But this ain't Black Lives Matter. God told me that this situation is a family matter. However, we still ignorantly place far too much emphasis on viewing each other as groups. We feel empowered and life seems easier when we can downsize the world into placing one another into boxes. Because we want to try to be in control of our own lives, and so we oversimplify our God-ordained differences. We place that little white boy into that same racist box with all of the white people who came before him as if he's guilty of something that he never even had nothing to do with. Why can't he believe in himself just because of something that he didn't even have no control over being born with? Yeah, his skin is white, and they used to make us pick cotton, but you out your cotton picking mine if you always think he's rotten or she's rotten, and they always plotting, because in our generation, ain't none of us ever picked it, and his skin color, he never picked it, so why is it that's how he's always depicted? In this world, they say he got the upper hand. White man. But then we turn around and tell him that he should feel guilty about accepting the benefits. We think that his white skin makes him far too privileged. But that's only because we don't really know what privilege truly is. And I'm here to tell y'all that God's favor ain't never cared about what color your skin is. You could be born white or black, or any other color for that matter. Black life nor white don't matter. God is no respect of persons. He don't care about your rights, or whether you black or white. I don't care what color your skin is. You better hope that you get it right with God before you die, or you will never have the privilege of ever seeing heaven's premises. And so yeah, I might be black, not they, as in white people, but the devil tried to hold us back. A long time ago, he devised a plan to cause divisiveness. But that's okay, because I trust in God, and I wholeheartedly believe that nothing happens without his okay. So I don't repay evil for evil, or I'll become the same person as the white people who hate me. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. So anybody who ever tried to hurt me, Lord, please forgive them, for they know not what they do. They don't understand that they only do it to me because they already did it to you. We wonder how God could allow slavery and racism to happen. We blame him instead of looking at our own selfish sin as the reason why human beings will never be able to truly coexist. I'm just that little black boy who grew up and want to shed some light on looking to the future, to where our hope is, instead of focusing on the past so much that we feel hopeless, like we never gonna get past this. And so let me just say that once again, I already know that I'm making some of my fellow black people mad with this. A lot of y'all ain't gonna want to agree with this, but I'm doing this in the name of Jesus, not in the name of my blackness. I'm trying to bring you closer to godliness, not your blackness. He said he's sick of watching us living these double-minded, double standards. He want all of us to believe in him, not in black power or white power. Believe in his power, not in ourselves or the color of our skin, because our own self-pride and self-belief is the reason why we even have so many differences. Our fight is not the same as those who came before us. Martin Luther King Jr. truly had to fight for equality, but my fight is to get us to refocus on Jesus, because we can only be on one accord through his body. So I guess this is one of my burdens, and I gotta carry it. They tell that little white boy he can't be proud of what his race is, but he never chose to be born pigmentless. Tell me why we still blaming him for something that his ancestors did. That little black boy and white boy could never switch places. They could never go and switch faces, because we don't get to choose the color of our skin or where in this world our place is. But what I will say right now is that God placed you where you are and made you who you are because he already knew that he was going to use you despite what your race is. Maybe that's why I was that little black boy who was born and grew up with gaps in my teeth, because God wanted to use the truth that I speak through this mouth to bridge the gap between us and where God's grace is. And so even though I'm grown now, I was once that little black boy myself, and I can still never agree with this perpetuated double standard. Nobody should be proud of their skin, because that's not where our strength is. God is. How come that little white boy can't be proud of what his race is just to try to appease us? I'm speaking to my fellow black people when I say that far too many of us still have this victim mentality, even after we ain't never even did a day of slavery. We say we believe in God, but we are not really like Jesus. What I'm asking you right now is, what if somebody judged you because of all of the actions of your ancestors? Of course, this world is still filled with racists, but this statement pertains to all races because our self-hatred didn't come from white people. It came because we stopped looking up to God for his power and started looking in the mirror for the black power in the color of our own faces. I know that some white people are horribly tasteless. Believe me, I've tasted it. But sometimes we need to eat our own words when we call white people racist because we gotta stop blaming some of them for things that happened years ago that they had absolutely nothing to do with. Your great granddaddy was a drug dealer. Your great grandmama was a prostitute. They might come from a lineage of slave owners, but what if every time somebody thought about who you are, that's how they judged you? You say white people judge you, but you judge them too. And God said, love your enemies. So we gotta stop with this double-minded, double standard and learn how to love people who don't even love you. White people ain't your enemy. The devil is. Don't be a black racist.